Welcome back to the TYSK report. I have the articles waiting on the docket, so let's dive into them. Tesla sues Sweden's postal agency and wins as union fight escalates. Interesting. It says here that Tesla sued Sweden's postal agency after mail workers in the country refused to deliver license plates in solidarity with striking service auto workers. Its court is siding with Tesla and that Sweden's transport agency must get Tesla the license plates within 7 days or pay a fine of 1 million Swedish crowns, which is about 95,000 US dollars. About 130 workers at 7 Tesla repair shops in Sweden have walked out in the past month as ordered by their labor union, If Metal, the largest union for manufacturer workers in the country. Tesla has refused to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement with the striking workers, and other unions have thrown in their support, including dock workers who won't take Tesla's vehicles off cargo ships. Tesla has been accused of resisting unionization in facilities in the U.S., including allegedly firing pro-union workers as retaliation for attempting to organize in Buffalo, New York, and suppressing employees from discussing pay in Orlando, Florida. So things could get very interesting for Tesla and other auto companies because right here it says the UAW is launching a first-of-its-kind push to publicly organize the entire non-union auto sector in the U.S. after winning new contracts with the Detroit 3 automakers. The Detroit-based UAW said workers at 13 non-union automakers were announcing simultaneous campaigns across the country to join the union, including Tesla, Toyota, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Rivian, Nissan, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz. So as we go into the new year, these auto companies could greatly be affected by what's going on when it comes to the UAW unionizing all the workers across these different companies. So this is just something to be on the lookout for if you're working for these companies. Also, I do wonder how much of an impact these campaigns are going to have on these companies, along with the production of electric vehicles. So it should be some exciting and interesting times in 2024. Moving on to the next article. Nvidia taps China talent for autonomous driving endeavors. The firm is recruiting 24 roles for an autonomous driving team spread across Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, according to a post on its official WeChat account on Tuesday. The unit, consisting of positions in software, end-to-end platform, system integration, mapping, and product, is led by Jingzhu Wu, who is recognized for bringing smart driving features to mass-produced vehicles in China over the last few years. It's unsurprising that Nvidia has designated China as an important hub for its AV endeavors. Cutthroat competition in the country's auto industry has driven many electric car makers to invest in autonomous driving, producing a pool of talent, experience, and bringing the technology from R&D to mass production. So Wu stated and said, "Let's hope that the Chinese autonomous driving team can become a core force in driving the commercialization of Nvidia's autonomous driving products, tapping the country's talent and experience to create autonomous driving products for the global market." In addition to that, Nvidia's own relationship with China is a delicate one. Under U.S. export control, the chip giant is currently barred from exporting its most powerful AI GPUs to China, one of its biggest markets, though its automotive products are not affected at the moment. So as the technological shift continues to rapidly move, we could start to see an increase in companies looking to tap into talent outside of the typical talent pool that they've tapped into in the past. And by doing this, this could potentially bring in more profits while also lowering operating costs. Plus, we are seeing different companies investing more into countries on the Eastern Hemisphere, because in this article it says right here, Apple partner Foxconn is investing $1.5 billion in India. Going into this article, Foxconn plans to invest $1.4 billion in India, the latest in its growing expansion plan following a surge in revenues in the South Asian market. Foxconn said in a stock exchange filing that the investment will help it fulfill operational needs. The investment comes 2 months after the Taiwanese firm said it plans to double its workforce and investment in India by next year. Foxconn works with many firms, including Apple and assembles their devices in plants in India, as many tech giants look to shift part of their manufacturing base to India in a move that analysts describe as China plus one. So, diversification is a word that we could hear more in 2024. And if you look right here in Latin America, different parts of Africa, you got India right there, and these different countries in China, companies are investing more money into these different areas. And this could definitely change the strategy for the growth that they see in their company. And it could change the landscape of the different workers that companies hire. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and occurs in the new year. So we do hear the word restructuring a lot. You probably heard that in your company. They could potentially restructure things to the point where a lot of their work gets outsourced to those different parts of the world. So it will be something to be on the lookout for. So if you're working for a company, if you start to hear the restructuring word, just have your ears perked up a little bit and don't be caught off guard by something that could potentially affect you and your livelihood. Moving on to the next article. Google's new geothermal energy project is up and running. A first of its kind geothermal project is now up and running in Nevada, where it will help power Google's data centers with clean energy. Google is partnering with startup Fervo, which has developed new technology for harnessing geothermal power. Since they're using different tactics than traditional geothermal plants, it is relatively a small project with the capacity to generate 3.5 megawatts. For context, 1 megawatt is enough to meet the demand of roughly 750 homes. The project will feed electricity into the local grid that serves two of Google's data centers outside of Las Vegas and Reno. It's part of Google's plan to run on carbon pollution-free electricity around the clock by 2030. To reach that goal, it'll have to get more sources of clean energy online, and it sees geothermal as a key part of the future electricity mix that can fill in whenever wind and solar energy wane. So my take on this is I do think that instead of just scrapping fossil fuels for good, I think they're going to continue to use fossil fuels, but also begin to use renewable energy sources like geothermal, nuclear, or something different. I think they're going to scrap out wind and solar, and they're going to just use the geothermal, the nuclear, and then the fossil fuels, or a combination of all those. So they're going to use these renewable energy sources, but then also find a way to make fossil fuels renewable, or they're just simultaneously use both. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to power things and how it's going to play out in the future. And this is some of the latest news with Google and what's going on in their world. Let's move on to the next article. Rivian launches leasing program for its all-electric R1T pickup in 14 states. Rivian kicked off Monday a limited program that will give customers in select U.S. states the option to lease an all-electric R1T pickup truck. For now, customers living in 14 U.S. states can access the leasing program via the R1T configurated page on its website. The states, a list that includes Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, and Texas, were chosen based on factors such as where Rivian customers are located and where leasing is most popular according to the company. Other qualifying states include Georgia, Massachusetts, Michigan, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Washington. Leasing could give the R1T another boost. The R1S SUV has become the company's most sought-after model from customers. The leasing program may also prove popular since it is also eligible for the $7,500 federal tax credit, a cost reduction that will be applied to their vehicle subtotal during the digital purchasing process. So if you were looking at getting a Rivian vehicle, this is your opportunity to do so. You can take advantage of that federal tax credit, and then you could lease this vehicle out for maybe a couple years and test it out, see how much you like it, and see if it's something you would want to own for a longer term. Also, if you are a pickup truck owner, this is your opportunity to dive into something electric. If you always wanted to do that, you can lease out this vehicle and test its performance towards your typical ICE vehicle that you currently have. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people are going to take advantage of this leasing program and to see how successful it's going to be for Rivian. So it's always some interesting news happening in the world of technology, and to continue to stay up to date on the things you should know happening, definitely check out these two videos right here where I provide more information on the things you should know happening in the world of technology.